Hello and welcome to Backstage 360. I'm Kelly Bennett. We are here at NAMM 2023 interviewing a lot of different artists, and today I have two rockers who've been around. I think you said you've known each other for 40 years. Unbelievable. This is C.G. Wright and Sean Silas, and they are from the band IronWrath. I always say it wrong. I'm sorry. But IronWrath. You guys were telling me that you were in other bands when you met 40 years ago. So tell me a little bit about that meeting.
He was in a band called Holy Right at the time. A friend took me to see him. They were playing at a local church, and I was amazed by his guitar playing. I really was, and he reminded me of one of my favorite guitarists, Randy Rhoads, which you don't see somebody sound like Randy Rhoads. He sounds like Randy Rhoads, and I was like, went up to him afterwards. We became friends, and I think 2 months later, the drummer exited the band, and he said, "Hey, I know a guy. I know a guy," and then we've been married ever since.
With a happy ending.
Yeah. And so after you guys got together and you started a few projects, you were telling me that IronWrath started in '82.
89. 89. Yes. Yes. After we were playing in the band, let's see, Holy Right.
Holy Right.
And when that band, the four of us left on that band and started this band.
Kicked the singer out.
Yeah. Yes, and he had to tell. Actually, Chris had to tell him, and we were like, "Yep, sorry, It's time for us to move on." So that's basically how we got started.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about IronWrath and its music and how you guys, create and produce.
Well, IronWrath is a cinematic heavy metal band. We really write music is for people. It's not for you. So you have to write music that I think people can relate to, that can be a soundtrack to what they do. Metal is definitely a very unhindered, primal style of music that, unlike a lot of today's music industry, the bands still write their own stuff. And so for us, either that or we're having a midlife crisis. One of the two's going on. But with that said, for us it was a way to rekindle some of the old stuff we never got to release. You spend all this time in a band when you're younger, and you actually might do some good stuff, but maybe you didn't know anything about the industry, or your dad didn't, work for Dick Clark at the time, so you never got it out there. And so for us, I think God pulled us together to release stuff that we had never done. The album we never did, but in the process we really looked at it and said, let's be a lot more modern about it. Let's not live in the past, and let's write music that we've learned from our mistakes, and do something that can actually do something. And I think that's been the genesis of the project, and we've been very hard on it. And so for the last 2 years, we've got everything together. We go into mastering in about 2 weeks, and then from there, it's on to release the album.
Wow. And you are the guitar player on this. Tell me about some of your playing on that.
Yes. Well, let's see. I've been playing guitar since maybe 1982, and when I first heard Ace Frehley, I was always wanted to be Ace Frehley from Kiss, and then when I really wanted to really play, then my father bought me Randy Rhoads, which actually it was Ozzy Osbourne on Diary of a Madman. And that's how I learned about Randy Rhoads. Okay. And then after I heard that, I was hooked. And Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen. Yeah. So I pretty much perfected my style, from that. And then through the 80s, I've been listening to Paul Gilbert, Tony McAlpine, all these other guitar players that are shredders, and that's what I wanted to be. So when we joined up with IronWrath, that band was more like in the Queensryche style, basically, and I just brought my style of playing, which is a lot of crazy guitar, soloing and stuff like that with big sound, with his big drums.
Big drums, huh?
Big drums. He had a lot of drums.
How big are your drums? No, I'm not gonna. Okay, next question. Sorry. I had to go there. You know that. Okay, so we were talking earlier about cinematic music.
Yes.
And that really piqued my interest because that is one of the ways that artists can get their music heard is through the cinema because of the fact that a lot of people don't, go buy your music or whatever, but when they hear it on the screen or on a television set, that's a completely different atmosphere. Talk to me about that.
Well, the infrastructure, it's all about infrastructure. You told us you come from radio. For music, there was radio, there was MTV. These were ways of distribution to get your music out there. Those don't exist anymore. So if you don't have a prior fan base like a Carlos Santana or a Jason Aldean, it's really hard to start from scratch. So you need to utilize those aspects towards music. And then also, coming from being a film director, he's into visual effects, it's also a way we can not just write our music so it makes sense, so it has a place to live, but also why don't we utilize that medium within the project? If we're a band called IronWrath and we want to go play someplace in Central America and you never heard of us, you're probably not going to buy a ticket. Why would you? But if we can become a show, if we can become an experience, now it's like going to see a Cirque du Soleil show. You don't necessarily have to know who's in it. It sounds like a great show. We'll check it out. And I learned that in my solo project a lot when we would, because we choreograph a lot of drums from around the world. And so instead of being C.G. Ryche, we became a, mystic rhythm. It was a show, and that became something that was able to, sell out shows because of the project. And then you build a fan base that way. So with metal, we're trying to, in this desert wasteland known as the music industry, we're trying to revamp how you build an infrastructure. And of course, you use what's there, which is streaming and theatrical. So that's really what our music is based around, theme, and then we're also about getting a positive message out there.
Storytelling. We talked about storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling. We're not out to preach to anybody, but we're pro God, we're pro freedom, we're pro, life, and we don't make any apologies about any of it, So, but yeah, it's an exciting time to be in music because of the capabilities of technology, but at the same time, I miss the infrastructure. I miss how things used to work, So.
Well, speaking of, don't you have an album coming out?
Yes, we have the album that's coming out, and it's called a Master Storyteller, which is a hard one to say for me. Master Storyteller, and it's a 13-song, album length, and it tells a story. It starts out like with a Master Storyteller, which is the title track, and it's very industrial sounding with our influences from like the 90s all the way up until now. And then after that, it takes you like on this journey that's way down like the rabbit hole, I guess you would say. Yes.
Tell me a song that you guys really enjoy.
Oh my gosh.
Just pick one.
My favorite on the album, I would have to say, is Death March. It's about the Holocaust, and one of the most scary things when you learn about the Holocaust is things happened in 1941 that were crazy, but it started in 1933 with the passing of law. And you look at the world we live in today, it's right now where we're headed is starting with the passing of law. So there's a lot of people don't learn from history. So, but the reason I like the song so much is not just because of the message, but it's more of an opus, like this would be our Bohemian Rhapsody. So on the artsy side, I like that. Most of the stuff's a lot more commercial. This particular song, for me, is just more, the artsy, mammoth opus of a song. So that would be my song on the album.
What about you, Sean?
It would have to be Death March as well.
Really?
Yes, and we had some other great ones on there that are really intense, that talk about war and everything, and crazy guitar playing and stuff. But with Death March, is basically what CG was saying about the Holocaust, but more with the musical side. Randy Rhoads is one of my big time favorite players, so the solo is dedicated to him.
And there's like strings in there. It's a big song that's not really, it's not one of our hits, but musically speaking, we're just being honest.
But it tells a story.
Tells a story, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys?
Right now we're currently working on the set. When we play live, we're combining the whole. We're trying to be a miniature Roger Waters, the wall.
Yeah.
So we're combining the whole set with video and story. We're building that as we speak, which is a lot. And then we're going to probably focus more on Europe as far as performance. And then licensing music, we'll focus on the United States, with streaming and the movie houses. And then we're also going to start in development for a Netflix concert, which would be more like a Wizard of Oz meets Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
So, and that's really the goal of the band right now, which is lofty and it's going to cost some money, but that's what we're doing.
Awesome. And where can folks find your music?
Well, that's still need to be
IronWrath.net.
I wasn't sure if it could be iTunes, but that's later.
YouTube.IronWrath.
Yeah.
Yes, but the IronWrath.net, IronWrath, all one word, .net is the hub. You get the YouTube, you can get the social media, everything is there.
And I love the cinematic theater storytelling that you do. You know, I can't wait to go.
I love cinema in general. It's such a beautiful thing. I mean, the arts are, whenever you can create something to someone's imagination and take them on a journey, it's really always been about them. It's about the audience and trying to give them an experience. And if you can do that well, you can probably make it.
And the message is so important too.
The message is everything. People are hurting today. I mean, the clouds are dark on the political horizon, and people need music as a way to escape. I mean, and so is TV. So for us, we want to say something to lift people up and empower people. It's really about the listener. It's not about us. So.
Well, bless you both. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I wish you loads and loads of luck. So IronWrath is their name, IronWrath.net.
.net.
.net.
Stole the .com. I don't know who you are to stole our .com. We're coming for you.
No, they're not. They're just kidding. Anyway, go check out their music. Awesome stuff. Cinematic and telling a story, which is really touches my heart. That's it for Backstage 360. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.